Hi everyone, my name is Melissa. I'm the life guide. I'm the person who reminds you to make decisions from a place of power, not a place of fear. I might be your moral compass today, or your mentor tomorrow, or your big little sis with sense. I created this program, the 10 Steps to Pivoting, because since COVID, a lot of us discovered our jobs, our relationships, sometimes our lives itself are not as fulfilling as we wanted them to be. It was really a dark time, and our well being suffered under the inability to actually take action. I don't think I actually need this, so let me go back. So now in 2024, it finally feels like it's a time where we can actually make a pivot, like we can actually make a change in our lives that will create a life that's more suitable for us. You may not have decided exactly what you wanted to do. You may or may not have decided exactly what you want to do, and you might be avoiding it altogether. However, I'm hoping using avoidance as a coping mechanism is not your planned means of action for the rest of your life. So let's get out of that. And we're going to create a long-term solution, which is actually stepping into the changes that you need to make and not stepping away from them. So today we're going to face the music with a short 10-minute walkthrough of my 10-step pivot workshop. And you can also attend when I hold them. I'll put my link in the description that tells you exactly where you can find me. First of all, what even makes me the right person to talk about all this? I've had to go through some real transitional periods in my life, especially when it comes to my career and in my personal life, and yes, my romantic life. Those have been some of the biggest pivots, and I've also lost a lot of faith and confidence in the process of making these big transitions. And after reflecting, I also realized that maybe I could have shortened this pivoting space and it didn't have to actually take this long. During my time reflecting on those periods of pivoting, I was able to put together this workshop to utilize the best practices to shorten the time it takes you to actually pivot. So even though this was greatly reflective and practical for me to make, I feel that as the life guide, you all deserve this practical guide so you can get back to living a full, rich life where you don't need to avoid making changes that are overall beneficial to you. There are 10 steps in this workshop, and the most important thing to know is that you cannot, I do not recommend, do not skip any steps, okay? It's really important to follow the steps because you're building momentum as you go, and the momentum is going to push you forward on the days that you don't feel like doing anything. So, don't skip steps. For this program, it's tempting to think about a million things you could change or you think you need to change, but I really want you to focus on just one thing that you might need to change. And this should be the dominating concern that you can pinpoint in your life. After you go through this workshop once, you'll be able to utilize the same steps to make other changes in your life. And again, you'll be even more confident the second time around. So let's focus on the one dominating concern that you have, the one that breeds negativity and unfulfillment into other parts of your life. And once that thing has changed, oftentimes a lot of other circumstances are going to change. You may not actually have to change other things. Step one starts with recognition. Recognizing it's a time to pivot can be difficult because we grow attached to our circumstances and situations, even if they're no good for us. This often leads us to be forced to make a change rather than actively choosing to make a change. So you can be in control of your pivot and not be forced into the pivoting process. Being forced to pivot often becomes more difficult and stems from becoming sick or being shut out, maybe being fired or just depressed. These situations make pivoting hard because they take a mental, spiritual, and physical toll on our bodies. And they separate you from standing in your power and enveloping you in self-doubt. Bottom line is listen to the signs that tell you it's time to change. And you'll find that pivoting is actually a lot easier. So take some time, clarify what you need to change, and we're going to go into step two. Step two is about acceptance. So accepting change as necessary can be equally difficult since it's easy to overthink and talk ourselves out of making a change and staying put. But as we know from before, if we don't make the change, we're going to be forced to make a change at some point. So here you need to be truthful with yourself. Write down all the reasons you do not like your current situation, acknowledge the feelings that come up, and finally, I say, accept that the time had, and finally, accept that the time has come to pivot. After you've written down the reasons you do not like your current situation, acknowledge the feelings that come up and finally say, this is what you're going to say: I accept that the time has come for me to make a change that will bring me closer to the life I imagine for myself. Step 3 is about imagination. Imagine what your life would look like if you made a change. Here I am encouraging you to go with the flow of seeing what's possible and raising your vibration from a place of being stuck to a place of being empowered. Draw a picture or write about what you could see your life looking like if you made the changes that are necessary to you actually getting to where you want to be. This step is key because if you don't see yourself in the visions you have for yourself, well, you can never truly achieve them. Go on to create this picture or write your paragraph. Step 4 brings us into a brainstorm. So consider the following question: what do you need to do to make the life you want possible? Brainstorm the potential actions you could take to transition successfully from the unfulfilling circumstance you are in to something more fulfilling. Write down some of the tasks and actions that you have to take. And then we're going to move into step 5. Step 5 is all about cause and effect. So although you made a huge list of actions, most can be sorted into different categories that reflect an overarching theme or need. So we're going to write out a statement like this: in order for me to blank, I must blank. And here's a really good example that you can use. In order for me to maintain a healthy work-life balance, I must establish boundaries and allocate time for personal activity. The statement, maintain a healthy work-life balance, is your goal. And the establishment, the I must part of the statement, is really the beginning stages of your actions. So it's giving you an overarching theme to your actions. And everything you create in your brainstorm can now go under that list of actions. And we'll get to that in steps. You're going to do this up to 3 times, no more than that. And that's because we're focused on the things you need to change immediately. By completing these statements, it emphasizes the importance of each cause and the corresponding effect, which reinforce the commitment to achieving your desired goals. This structure helps to clarify your priorities, they establish a plan of action, and maintain focus on your desired outcomes. Now we're in step 6 of pivoting. This is really about steps. Under each cause and effect statement, write out a few steps necessary to make the change. Make sure to write at least 3 actions under each statement, refining them so they're very specific, reasonable, and assign a time to complete these steps. Every small step is an opportunity to learn about yourself, which will support you in being comfortable in the space you end up after your pivot. Moving on to step 7, this is really about support. In the pivoting process, supports can be anything from family, friends, finances, to therapy, past behaviors, and even affirmations. So ask yourself, what would help me complete the steps I outlined in step 6? Is it a person? Is it friends? Is it a reminder? Write down what has helped you make successful changes in the past. Remember that supportive people will hold you accountable with love. Never take their questions as a critique on you personally, because it's a disservice to yourself and the process. If you don't have a supportive person or can't think of people that you truly trust, well, there's always me. You can message me and I can support you in this process. Step 8 is about rewards, and rewards only come when you do the work to receive them. Since our brains are wired to receive rewards, we're going to make a fun list of them. So make a list of 3 rewards, whether it be a meal, a movie, a new item, maybe even extra sleep. Add a reward to the bottom of the steps that you've created. And remember, rewards like goals should be reasonable. Step 9 is action time. You're going to go out into the real world and put these steps you outlined into action. There's truly only one way to pivot successfully, and that's to get the process started. So hold yourself accountable for completing your actions that you've set, so that the momentum will support you in completing action after action after action. And this is huge. Hold yourself accountable for completing your actions and keep moving forward. Remember, the actions you've set have momentum and a huge why behind it. So all you have to do is really just do the thing. just do the actions. Now we're on to step 10. This step comes after you've completed your first set of steps and indulged in your reward. I want you to talk to someone who sees this journey and supports you, and let them ask you these 3 questions as if they were interviewing you. Remember to be truthful and vulnerable in this process. What have you learned in the process of achieving goal 1? What steps or supports have helped you in this process the most? And lastly, is there anything you want to change before moving into the next goal? Enjoy this conversation and be completely transparent with your friend. Reflection is the best teacher and will help you refine your actions further. Of the 10-step pivot, but if you wanted to join me in my workshop, I will be hosting very soon, and you could keep in touch by follow. And you can simply go to my website and sign up for our newsletter so that you can find out all the workshops and events that we're having to help support you live the most enlightened life, but also help you reach the true desires that you have for yourself.